you with the race. Let's get on into
Yeah,
it, though.
what's going on here?
How rude of him. In the top right-hand corner, we do have the red Protoss playing for UCAP. We thought he was a Zerg. He says, I'm a Protoss, baby. He is JayPower. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Zerg, playing for Myth. He is Xeno.
Yeah, so I really want to talk about this JayPower for a second because I'm very surprised. You know, usually when players switch races, they're gonna have something evil up their sleeve, you know. So we may see some cheese coming out of JayPower, who is actually building a pylon in the main base and not at the natural, just like Harstem did in the first game on Abyssal City, which we casted. Which necessarily doesn't have to mean anything yet, but maybe he's gonna go Gateway where the Forge in his main base. I'm really curious, or he can even, of course, go Nexus first, which would mean he was gonna go for a macro game, but if you're not playing your main race, I'm a little confused right now.
There you go. I mean, we'll see. Xeno, I mean, for me to have recognized that name, he had to have done something special here. So JayPower does need to be a little bit wary, and indeed he is going to be throwing down a gateway first in his main base. So once again, going for that non-traditional, non-forge fast expanding build, drops the gateway in his own main, so could be looking to stay in one base a little bit longer.
Yeah, and also he's taking the gas, so he's not going for one gate expand, he's going for a gate assimilator and then maybe a nexus, but that's not really common. So I think maybe he's going to do a similar style to what Harstem did, which is one Zealot, two Stalker, pressure, and hoping that the Zerg overmakes a lot of Zerglings, so which cost him just way too much economy. Well, in the meantime, the Protoss expands himself. But whether or not that's going to happen, we're not sure about yet, of course. We just have to wait and see.
We'll wait and see as our Zerg player catches a lucky break right there. Xeno able to get down that hatchery without actually having to deal with that probe at all. Spawning pool already finished though, so this does seem kind of like a late hatchery to me.
It's definitely a pretty late hatchery. You're definitely right about that. I was paying attention a little bit to the Protoss, so I didn't see the exact timing of the hatchery, but definitely it's late. It should be more than 3/4 finished right now already, usually. In the meantime, he's just continuing making drones. I would expect him to pull... Oh, he's making gas. So this is interesting. I was going to say that normally he would take a drone right now and put it to the third base and go for free base. But for some strange reason, he's making the right decision, because if we look from the Zerg point of view, he did not scout the Protoss yet, but he's not going for free base, and that's exactly the right counter to what the Protoss is doing, even though he never scouted him, so this is really good.
He actually did poke in there with his observer. I'm looking at the Zerg's perspective right now and sees that there was nothing on the ground, on the low ground. So immediately went for that gas, and well, like you said, a good decision.
Yeah, a very good decision, because going gateway in Cybercore means that the Protoss can get a really fast warp gate tech and go for a really early pressure, which something Zerg are not used to anymore nowadays, because Protoss always go for a forge fast expand. So this could do really well for JayPower, although we see in the natural that he's making 2 extra gateways. Yeah, it could still be very aggressive, or he's just trying to wall in to be safe. We're not sure yet, we just have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, we do not know, and as Zerg actually gathers up his first 100 gas, does start his Zergling speed. So once again, like we saw in our last game of Zerg versus Protoss with Harstem in the first round, our Zerg player falling behind here in early workers and actually being pressured on multiple fronts. Does kill the probe over here at the third, but the Zealot and the Stalker actually getting away for now. Might go for a surround on the Zealot, but those Zerglings are going to chase the Stalker for quite some time.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Zerg player, metabolic boost upgrade is still 50 seconds to go, so he's never going to be able to surround the Stalker. If he could have, that would be really great, but of course that's a little bit too much to ask. It's still so early in the game. And the Protoss, by the way, going for a Stargate opening now. This is really interesting, because it's just his playstyle from the beginning has been quite off. You know, he's just doing stuff that is not what you would expect as a Zerg player. Now he's going for Stargate after this, you know. The Zerg, I'm sure the Zerg is not expecting a Stargate after such an opening.
Yeah, I do doubt that he's expecting that. He's thrown down a forge as well, wants to get started on those upgrades, and perhaps more importantly, throw down a cannon or possibly two at the front door to protect against any Zergling run-bys once he starts to move out onto the map. Our Zerg player catching up in workers now, still being very, very wary with the number of drones that he's making, and doesn't want to overcommit to his economy, wants to make sure that he's able to defend against anything. And as the observers are being poked in here on multiple fronts, he does spot out the Stargate.
Yeah, unfortunately he's gonna lose 2 overlords in the process, which is not what you want. You want to lose, like, 1 is fine, but 2 is a little bit too much. Because as we can see right now, if he's gonna lose the second overlord, he's gonna be supply blocked pretty heavily, because he didn't even start new overlords to go.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got 600 minerals and he's not making any overlords. He still is not making overlords. This is a huge mistake from the Zerg perspective.
Yeah, and he's got 17 larvae, so I'm not really quite sure what's going on right now for Xeno. He needs to get those overlords up ASAP, and he's in a very, very hard supply box, still not making overlords, instead starting to make these spore crawlers, and this is turning into a disaster.
Yeah, this is definitely what's, like, it's not even that JayPower is playing so good, it's more like our Zerg players not making overlords, which is, yeah, definitely not what you want.
Yeah, not what you want indeed. He does actually make 5 overlords here, so not going to be supply blocked. Immediately follows with 10 drones, trying to get rid of as much money as he can. Spore crawlers are going to be going down, but let's take a look on the other side of the map. There are 4 Phoenixes out. No more in production, so that's going to be all that's coming out of this Stargate most likely. And even with those spore crawlers down, with good micro here from JayPower, he can still do some serious damage in these mineral lines, and of course cleans up all the map control for our Zerg player.
Yeah, the Zerg player is gonna, yeah, he doesn't really know what to do after he lost all this map control. We also don't know what the Zerg is gonna do. I mean, he's at Lair Tech right now, he's upgrading +1 melee attacks. Oh, now he's gonna make a Hydra Den. That's very unorthodox in the current meta game. Players never do that anymore. He's got a Roach Warren, but he's not upgrading Roach speed. If you go for Roach Hydra, one of the requirements at least should be to have a lot of creep spread, because Hydras are so weak off creep. But our Zerg player doesn't have much creep spread. He's not gonna lose a queen, by the way, in the net pro right now. I'm not sure whether his strategy is gonna work out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure right now either, as he might lose another queen right here, and in fact, he should lose another queen. Zealots are being warped in. A total of 7 Zealots going to make their way into the 3rd now, and, I mean, Hydras against Phoenixes in low numbers. The Hydras are just going to get picked up and shredded. The plus damage there on Phoenix doing double damage to everything that is light. The Hydras will be destroyed.
Yeah, and also our Zerg player decided to make a lot of roaches, but now he doesn't have any anti-air, so the Phoenix can just go to town with these roaches, while the Zealots are cleaning up the 3rd base. He's just gonna lose it like that. And now there's some Hydras. Yeah, but they're gonna get picked off.
They just get absolutely melted right there. I think they got a total of 2 shots off, and Xeno is falling apart. Our Protoss player looking like he wants to build a 3rd behind this, and even started to get the fleet beacon now. Could he be looking for Phoenix range?
I think he's going to make a mothership just for fun.
I don't even know. The Zerglings unit coming in here into the 3rd. Zerg looking for a bit of a counterattack now. And it figures that's his best option, but these Zealots already with +1 just shred through those Zerglings, and Phoenixes continue to spot out the slower roaches, and there are no more Hydralisks left. I mean, there's 9, but they just came out. They're still hanging out in the base, do not want to show themselves on the map. They will get picked off so quickly.
Yeah, and really, if you look at how the Protoss player did this game, he just did really well, don't you think so? Just perfectly, strategically.
Oh, I think that the Zerg player kind of fell right into his hands. I mean, not going for Infestors, instead choosing to go for that Lair Tech choice of the Hydralisks. It really did work out, and he's used the Phoenixes incredibly, hasn't lost any of them yet. As we actually take a look here, and our Protoss player has lost very, very few units overall. Hydralisks do a fair amount of damage to the Phoenixes when they are able to connect. But once again, JayPower just with superior control. He's looking good, and so what the heck is he doing with all of his upgrades right now? He seems to be upgrading absolutely everything.
Yeah, he's going for +2 air weapons right now, which is really exciting. I actually expected him to make some more Stargates than he's doing. He's still working on 1. I expected him to at least make some, you know, he's so far ahead right now, he can even go for carriers if he wanted to in a mothership, but he's going for Storm instead. And he's also going for +3 ground at the 14-minute mark, which, I mean, normally 14 minutes for +3 is decent, reasonable, but now he's got +2 air as well. And Storm, yeah, he's just doing everything right. I'm really surprised and also like intrigued by how he's playing this, because it's not standard. He's just playing. It reminds me a little bit about Warcraft 3 as well, where some players would switch races and then just go off race and do strategies that the other player's not used to, simply because, you know, if you play your own main race, there's a meta game that you're familiar with, but our Zerg players getting confused by every move the Protoss is making, you know. And now it's going to the point where the Zerg basically has no way of coming back. You know, he can maybe take this 4th base, but by the time he gets it up, the Protoss is ready to do an attack, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, and might be going for attacking indeed. But this does remind me of something that I have actually seen before, where somebody once said of Cats that Cats does not use... Cats, of course, the, well, South American player for Root, and... He doesn't play the most standard, and his builds aren't the most efficient. And so sometimes he'll just be in these positions where everybody in the game is like confused. They're not exactly sure where they are. But the thing is, Cats might have ran that build 100 times. As there's a big fungal going off right here, and 5 of these Phoenixes might get fungal down right now. Gonna be taking a lot of pressure, and yeah, 3 Phoenixes, 4 Phoenixes gonna be going down. Make that 5, 6, 7, 8. And 9 Phoenixes go down in total. Great pick off there from our Zerg. But once again, just to finish up that thought, he's more comfortable in this position than his opponent is, just because he's played it before, whereas our Zerg player right now might not have known exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
But, well...
Also, I think, by the way, if the Zerg chose to do double Evolution Chamber and go for range attack upgrades and carapace, he could have had 2-2 by now. And if he would have made a really big attack after killing all these Phoenix, I think he could have won the game right there. But seeing right now he's got 1-0 and the Protoss has Storm, yeah, I'm not sure about this battle. He's looking really bad. Oh, really nice Storm.
Big Storm going down right there. I mean, Storm is so effective against Zerglings, and Hydras is another big Storm. And huge Storms on top of the Hydras. Some Hydras taking the fall right there. Still harassment going on the other side of the map as Zealots are actually making their way into the 3rd and 4th base. Nice burrow on a lot of those drones now. Going to try to save them for now. And the Protoss player moving out with a huge army across the map.
Yeah, it's looking like our Protoss is just going to push the Zerg from now on, even taking the 4th while doing that. He's definitely going to be able to kill the 4th base here. He might even choose to go for the natural of the Zerg instead, but he has 3 infestors waiting, so he cannot go up the ramp. This could be the mistake of the Protoss. If he gets some really nice fungals off, oh, this is really close here.
Ooh.
Yeah, he should just kill. Look at this, he's gonna make some Minor Nexus. Do you see that?
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, at the 4th. Oh, yeah.
And he's looking to go in right here. Charge Lot's trying to just completely surround all the Protoss. There's a decent Storm. Getting a lot of his Zealots, though. Feedbacks go off on a lot of Infestors. And more Storms all over the Roaches. And the Hydra's taking so much damage. Archon's getting in there as well. The Protoss has lost a ton of his army, though. And just does not have a whole lot left to deal with these Spine Crawlers. The Archons, the Stalkers, are they going to be enough? It does appear to be so. And Xeno trying to replenish his coffers, but just does not have enough right now. Trying to get in there, drops a fungal, but it's not enough. More units being warped on in, and here's a big warp in of Stalkers. +3 Stalkers, no blink available, just massacring the Zerg opponent on all sides. Another big Storm going to be going off, and Archons being made en masse. This is looking real bad for Xeno.
Yeah, I was almost about to say, I think that JayPower switched race or something. He's just playing well, you know?
He's playing out of his mind.
I mean, yeah, in StarCraft 2, it's so difficult to play 2 races on a decent level, you know? It's really difficult, and JayPower is now proving that he's one of the people that can, just like Nurcho, for example.
Tomorrow, as there it is, GG!